Hello again. When I get dealing with this live streaming, then I can start doing things like this and we can have a conversation about it. But I was laughing because not so long ago a little boy came up to me and he said, why are you like a kid? And I couldn't stop laughing because I thought, what happens to adults? When you're a child, you're carefree and happy-go-lucky. Even children who've been abused and had an hard time, I was surrounded by them when I was growing up, and they still managed somehow to find this escape in their mind. Like, the imagination was so strong, and we could enjoy little pockets of time even if we were miserable at home or whatever else. And it was weird because I think children have the ability to have magical thinking and think outside the box and see the world in a different way. And when we grow up, a lot of times people become too serious. And when people say, I'm going to go and let my hair down tonight, it usually involves getting drunk or getting high on something and partying or whatever. We're all different, but how I was brought up is the children tended to be quite happy-go-lucky when they were little, but those same children are now adults, and a lot of them are really serious. And you can have a laugh with them on certain subjects, but they've lost the childhood wonder of the world, and it's quite sad. And you notice this when you see adults with children, where you can get on the floor and be a donkey and act stupid and do silly dances and plays and things with children in the way that children interact. Children love it, but a lot of people just can't do it. It's like, does it get knocked out of you somewhere down the line? Is this idea that when you grow up, you really grow up, and so you lose all that childlikeness. The childlikeness and childishness is very different things, isn't it? I am childlike. Some people are childish. And sometimes I am childish. Especially, I find in relationships I can become quite childish because there's some aspects of me that haven't developed properly. Because it's taken a long time to get where I am. And the fact that I can still see the world in a magical way is quite surprising, really, because it's been not magical. And I think my mind, the way it works, helps me cope with a lot of stressful situations, because instead of seeing things for what you would say they are, I see them for what they could be or what I can make them. And so it's the thought process, isn't it, that changes your outlook on life. When I was here on the park last year, there were some children playing, and I encouraged children to play. And the little boy came over to me, and I can't remember what it was about now. I think he was showing me his ball or something, and I said, I bet you can't kick it very far, can you? So he kicked it, and I praised him, and I said, wow, that was great. So he came back and did it again. And then the other children started to follow and say, I can do that as well. And I said, show me how to do it. And then I joined in. And at some point, their mum came over and she started shouting at them and said, can you please stop harassing this lady? Because she's trying to work. And I went, oh, hang on, no. I'm on my break now. And anyway, I don't think you should ever stop a child having fun like that. I said, it's not often an adult will join in and do things like that. And the fact that they've got the confidence to come over to me. And they were so lovely as well. I said that it's a pleasure to play with them. I don't feel like they're bothering me at all. And she looked confused. And then she went back to her pitch, and then later on I seen her sitting outside with some other people, and they were completely separated from the children. Like, go away, go play. We're all having adult time. So they kept coming back to me all the time, and I was laughing, and I thought it was fun. And then she came over again and apologised. She said, I'm really sorry, they won't leave you alone. And I said, I don't want them to. I'm enjoying the company. And then it wasn't until later on she came past me and she just went, "Thank you." And I said, "What for?" And she said, my son normally gets shoved to one side by other people because they say he's annoying because he's always asking questions." And I said, "But that's the natural part of life and we should answer them." You know, I think children that are heard feel important, and to ignore them, it just makes them feel small again. And I think a lot of adults sometimes forget that they were little once. And I remember being little. I remember a lot of adults didn't have time for me at all. They weren't interested. They used to brush me off and talk over the top of my head, and they were only interested in other adult company. And the children, you all go and play, go away. And every now and again somebody would show you some attention, and I mean in the right way. You know, like at church, there was a couple of old ladies, and they used to love your company, and they'd say, "Come and sit with me and let me tell you a story," and it was really nice. But I feel sorry for children sometimes, because I feel like they can be disregarded and not heard. And is that why they grow up to be so hard, and they lose that joy inside of them, you know, that playfulness and everything? It's really funny, because when I hang out with people, I tend to bring it out of them, and then we all end up being fools together, but we have a good laugh. And I'll say, just because you've grown up doesn't mean you can't have fun, and it doesn't mean you can't see the world in the way you saw it as a child. When I go to a forest or I go for a walk in the dark, my imagination is so strong. I can conjure things, like I can see creatures in the shadows and things, and make stories out of it, and it's really, I find it fun. But if I say this to another adult, sometimes they're like, "You crackers." But I just thought, I've got a grandson and he's nearly 9 now, and there's going to come a time when he's probably going to grow out of me, and he's going to get to a point where he goes, you're too immature." Even now, we have such a laugh when we do meet, and even now he'll look at me and he'll go, "You're not right, you, are you, Nana Kelly?" And I'm like, "Never will be." But yeah, it's funny. But what was somebody saying to me? "Oh, you need to grow up." And I said, I am grown up, I am mature. I have got a side of me that's really straight and grown up. You know, I've dealt with a lot of stuff, but there is a childlikeness that's always going to be there until I die, and I think that keeps you young. I think people who can manage to do that stay younger for longer. You might not look younger in your face, but your energy is younger. And if I go out, I like to play out on the bike and swings and everything. And if there's a group of children playing somewhere, or teenagers, I'll join in with them, because I think it's fun, and I love doing that. When I worked at Drimsine and I was a day porter, it was so funny. It was quite a big hotel, and it had a lift. It had a few lifts, and there was a group of children used to come, and the parents were all seasonals, and so they could stay for like weeks at a time and stuff. And there was this one night, there was 10 children all playing hide and seek, and they were making such a racket, and everyone's going, "Oh, you know, this is ridiculous." So I went up to them all and I said, "We're going to play a new game now if you want, and it's called hide and seek, but it's called be quiet at the same time." And I put them into groups, and I said, "You go in the lift, and then you go down that staircase, and you go other way down the corridor, and you've all got to sneak up on each other as quietly as possible without making any noise whatsoever." So I sent these 10 children around the hotel, and the problem is, some of them got completely lost, because there were some of them were only about 3 or 4 years old. They went missing. We had to go and look for them all, and they were so good at what they were doing, because I said, "Don't make any noise at all," that they were just sneaking around the hotel and hiding in places like under tables in conference room and everything, and I thought it was great. And I was trying to find them and I couldn't. And then somebody came up to me and they said, this is just getting out of hand now. We've got loads of missing children. And I said, I sent some in lift and some have gone that way and some have gone that way. So we had to go and find them. And the kids thought it was great because all adults joined in, but it were all for the wrong reason. It was really funny. But I got told off for it. You're not supposed to do that. And I said, look, I was just having fun with kids. And I said at one point I'd locked myself in a cupboard as well, you know, playing the game with them, and I lost. But anyway, there's nothing wrong with having fun and still being childlike. And that's why I like to get dressed up sometimes like an elf at Christmas. And be stupid. And my dog, well, yeah, even my dogs are more mature than me, so even they can't handle it anymore, but they accept it. It's what it is. I'm just looking out window there because there's a few people coming on park. And they appear to just be driving around and they're not actually on the park, so it might be people coming to do a memorial. Because we've got one on the park. In fact, we've got a few where people have passed away and the relatives come back every year and put flowers down, and yeah, it's sweet. But anyway, I will go for now and I will see you later.